So there's a developer. I love his content, but not just the content. I know he knows what he's talking about when he's saying it, or he might just say something, just speaking to the camera about residential development, installing utilities, putting in streets, the risk of being a developer, equaling to the reward, because all the funding up front is on the developer's shoulders.
Yeah.
And we don't have that conversation.
Man.
And we don't tell the difference between a builder and a developer. A builder is not a developer. And a lot of developers aren't builders. Two different skill sets. But we don't have that conversation. And he does. In a very quick, sequential way. So I love that he puts good, authentic information out there.
There you go. And so you just really are affirming exactly what you know brings you into the story.
Okay.
Because he's telling the story. He's highlighting the fears. This is an emotional standpoint. A lot of times, lack of confidence or self-esteem or fears come from lack of knowledge.
Key point. I'm not a low self-esteem girly.
No.
I'm very confident. I know who I am. I stand on my word. But I'm not a person who speaks to the camera well. And I'm probably not because I told myself that. But it's like I said earlier, it's not my authentic self. So I don't do it.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. I don't do it, but I know it works.
Okay. Yeah. And so does trendy TikTok dance videos.
True.
It doesn't mean it has to be you.
Right.
So we mentioned the lecturer, education. That's a framework.
Okay.
All right. Now, the other aspect that I was going to share is literally what we're doing. And it's a conversation.
Oh.
And so now the conversation flows more naturally because you actually see somebody in front of you that you can speak to the things that you're either developing, building, or wanting to get comprehension for.
Yeah.
And so now you can have a conversation with one person where it's formatted based off of, I want to educate about these things. And then you have that be read to you. Have you ever interviewed yourself?
Oh, no. No, I've never done that.
So setting up an interview for yourself is what we call the one light, two camera person. Okay. Or one light, one camera, two scenario person. One light, one camera, two scenarios. So here's an example of that. And this is a way of creating content. You ask the question that you know people are always asking you, right? Stop the video after you ask the question, sit on the other side, put your glasses on, and become the other person that's answering the question.
Okay.
Now, this is a framework. Even if you don't have a me or somebody that you can bounce off of initially, you can do a list of, and I'm gonna do it in real time with you.
Okay.
What are the top? Actually, you already said it, but I want you to repeat it. What is the top 3 things or fears that people have when it comes to buying a home?
Not knowing how to get a loan, thinking that their credit is bad or too bad to purchase, and just not knowing where to start.
There you go. Now, from that aspect, not knowing how to get a loan, man, I want to get a house, but I don't even know how to get a loan. And then you kind of come in on the other side of the video and it's like all the ways you can get a loan. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I know you have them, so let me think. What are some of the ways you can get a loan?
Well, you just need to collect your top 3 docs, your bank statements, your W-2s, and your credit report.
That's content and it's done. That's one video.
Wow.
Second question. My credit is too bad.
I'm not a credit. There are credit repair companies. There are lenders who work with you. There's also seller financing available that will help you lease until you can own and give you credit from your lease towards your purchase.
Boom. You just did it again.
That's crazy.
See how you're doing it? And this is authentic. This isn't like, I'm not like coaching you to like say it like this and be like that.
Right.
You're speaking from your expertise, and now what you're doing is you're guiding. See, the thing about content is that you're not the hero. You're the guide for the hero.
Mm.
Yeah, you want to write that one down.
Mm.
Because right now the consumer looks at the content as the influencer, and the influencer is the hero. But when you position yourself not as the hero, but as the guide for the hero, make them their own hero, help them see the hero in themselves, your content will take off.
Ugh.
That was 2 videos right there
Yeah.
with one person. And it's a simple setup because you just answer the question. You ask the question, you answer the question. The third one, it was, where do I even start?
Yeah. Well, most people think they need to contact the realtor first. You really need to contact the lender first. Because you can't buy a home without pre-approval. So you start with the lender first. And here are my top 3 lenders.
Now.
Wow. Dante.
That's it.
I know it's not magic, but it feels that way because it's, again, not my wheelhouse. It's your lane of expertise.
Yeah.
And people I don't want to pretend like I know what you know.
No. But likewise, you know what I mean? Right. And so all this is a framework. This is like literally going into the studio. Think about it seriously, because I always compare this to music. And the artist has this talent, they have this gift, but they've been trying to mimic or sound or be like somebody else.
Right.
And other guide or producer is just like, no, this is your lane. You're the ad-lib queen. Hey, you know, you have the you have the oohs and the ahs. You know, Marvin Gaye's songs are famous for his ad-libs. They love his ad-libs. I Want You is a lot of ad-libbing, a lot of cooing, oohing and ahhing. You know?
It is.
And you do it to the right beat, aka framework. Think of framework as a beat. That's why I called it a beat. Okay. So you know how you can have a great beat but a terrible song? That's the same thing with content. You can have the perfect visuals but a terrible message.
Wait, say that again. The framework is a beat. You could have a beautiful content, but
you can have a beautiful
song, but
a terrible message.
Beautiful beat, but terrible message. You know what I like? And then like sometimes when you're singing a song and you're like, oh damn, I didn't know it said that.
Exactly.
Example.
Yes.
One of my favorite songs is California with T.I.
Okay.
When I'm on the gym, it gets me crunk. But I'm saying the words and I'm like,
oh.
Bitches in the pool. And I'm saying bitches in the pool.
Not even knowing, but it's getting that vibe.
Banging. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh wow.
But here's the problem that we're having now with content is the beat is predictable. We know it's about to be a slow motion video and it's going to look good and it's going to look cool. We want substance again. Music is actually even transforming back into substance.
Really?
Absolutely. That's why you have artists, the underground scene is making a strong comeback with going to mainstream because they're coming with so much substance.
And that was so missing. It was so void of substance for so long.
Yes. So that candy shop, popsicle, you know, manufactured has a temporary place. But once that falls away and once the new trend comes up, the ones that's been steady and consistent with substance will grow. So you just came up with 3 videos that literally don't sell anything, but builds authenticity, trust, and likability. I'm gonna like somebody who's guiding me. Now you're positioning yourself as the guide. That's all a doctor is. That's all, you know, the expert is.
Okay, that's true.
That was just top tier, and that was 2 frameworks I gave you from education standpoint of view. Now you can educate on a 3rd level, demonstration, visual. We're still on education. We're not even in entertainment.
Okay.
So demonstrative viewpoint is to use one of the popular methods. Again, we'll go to the teacher aspect, is a chalkboard or a whiteboard.
Wait, there's a girl on Instagram. She is my favorite. Whenever she goes to the chalkboard, I want to hear what she's saying. And it is the most it's the crazy. It was a fuck around and find out. Remember her?
No.
Now she's like head of Black Caucus, United States
Okay.
Black Caucus.
No way.
Yeah, she's speaking on panels in Congress, and it's But her video was so
raw
on time and raw. It was like, see, I'm here, and you can make a left at this tree up here. And then make a U-turn and come back around, and this is where you're gonna find you had me fucked up. And I want to find out wherever her ending point is every time, because this is gonna be so.
So it keeps you watching, like, where's the end going? Because I know I can probably relate to that.
Yeah, it's
there
relatable.
You go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
So demonstration creates relatability. That's why we connect music videos to music, because we want to see the relatability. So you can demonstrate through a chalkboard, whiteboard aspect, or you can demonstrate through even a prop aspect.
Tell me what you mean by that.
So a prop aspect, let me use this bottle of water, right? And as simple as this is, actually, literally, this is as simple as this is. The demonstration of showing this is the glass is either half empty or half full.
I can relate to that. I see it, I know it, I understand it.
Right. Now, it's empty, you open it up and you start to pour it out into something. If you're only constantly outputting, and if you're only constantly giving, if you're only constantly searching, and you're not learning from the right people, but you open it up and you pour into it. But when you're getting education from people who know what they're saying, people who know what they mean, people who have your best intentions, it's actually the half full. And now the demonstration is as simple. That's just off the dome. But get creative with simple demonstrations. Whether it's a bowl of cereal and milk, and you're pouring milk into the bowl of, like, this is what everybody's fears look like. And here's the little bit of information you have, but next thing you know, you're just constantly putting in the milk, spoiled milk, what's spoiled milk? Bad ideas, bad information, misunderstood truths, renting for 37 years because you've been listening to spoiled milk. That's just demonstration. And guess what people are looking at? You were doing it. They're looking at the bowl.
Yeah.
They can't even take their eyes off it. Is she going to stop pouring milk into this bowl? Like, it's going to make a mess,
Wow.
Again, now follow, because I like it. It made me feel good. Because this is the mindset of social media. Staying on a platform to feel good. Like you said, we can get on the stroll. What you call it? Doom scroll. Man, we can get on doom scrolling because it's just addictive. They've literally made it so you're either doing this with your finger, or with your thumb, or you're doing this constantly. Swiping up, swiping down, refresh. So now we're not just using content to showcase, we're using content to connect.
Yeah.
And now it becomes fun.
How it makes you feel. How does this make someone feel? How do they feel about it?
Yes.
People move. You know what? I say it all the time, Dante. Nobody makes a decision unless they feel pain or pleasure.
Yep. That's it.
Somebody's mad. They're making you mad. Make them feel the pain in their pocket.
Yep.
Of how that, and then they'll move themselves.
Oh man.
You won't have to move them.
Man. That's so true. Same with economy, right?
Yeah.
Gentrification.
Right.
Raise the prices. You're going to want to move. You're going to feel that. That's pain.
Well, you know what? Okay, so that's another one. That's a whole commercial.
There you go. Go for it.
But gentrification is not a dirty G word.
There you go. Okay.
And we should not want less for ourselves because we can't afford the new construction. If you're 65 years old and you live in this neighborhood, you shouldn't even be paying taxes. You've paid your taxes, but you should benefit from a new HEB. You should benefit from new streets. We have to change that narrative. And there in Texas especially, because we have tax exemptions for older people, for disabled people, for senior. Like, let's have a conversation about the benefits of gentrification. You don't get that HEB without this.
Cut. There it is. There it is. Like, and that was passion and truth.
Right.
So even that passion is going to communicate like, and here's the thing. It's you probably heard the saying, bad publicity is still good publicity.
I have.
So now you're speaking on a controversial topic that gets people engaged. Like, it's almost like I want to dry hate on this video, but dang, the more she's speaking, the more she's giving value, the more she's making me see it from a different perspective. I like her. Why didn't I think about that? I do want my grandma to be able to have a nice HEB that she feels safe to go in.
Right.
I do want our streets to be nicer so we're not getting potholes and beating up our cars.
Yeah. Yeah. But it all takes tax dollars.
Exactly.
So it's a cycle, like the real estate cycle. The reason, and then I'm going to give some game. When you see D.R. Horton or Lennar Homes come into a neighborhood and they building 300, 500 homes, they're not doing it because they love you and they want to make your community improve. They're getting reimbursed from your tax dollars,
man,
to build these communities. Up millions of dollars to reimbursed. So, you know, as much as you want to run to a Lennar home, when they're building in this community, just know that you should be, you know, you're building the tax base for the city, which is why you get the reimbursement. I'm going off on a tangent here because
go there.
The whole cycle is built into that.
Yep.
And then the narrative, like I tell people all the time, they're like, I want to go to Pearland or Sugarland and all these other lands, but you're taking your tax dollars to those lands. Bring the tax dollars back to South Acres, Third Ward, Sunnyside, Acres Homes. Come back and build and buy in the neighborhood where you grew up so that grandma can have an HEB that she feels safe to go into.
Man.
So anyway,
it's in you. It's in you. It's in you.
It is, but I don't have the bandwidth, Dante.
No, you do have the bandwidth because you're doing it. You just didn't have the framework. And all I'm giving you is frameworks. I'm giving you a dope beat to flow on. If you got the wrong beat, you ain't gonna be able to spit. Okay. These are just frameworks.
Wow.
And so now, this perspective shift, again, remember, this allows you to be able to work and create from anywhere. So even from that gentrification standpoint of view, it's so powerful because I see a lot of your videos at development sites. But if you would just do a quick 15, 20 seconds of what you just did, speaking on where this actually goes and why it does what it does for the HEB, that video now has that much more power versus you walking through the mud and highlighting the new building. Yeah. We see the building. We hear the beat.
Yeah.
Remember, the aesthetic of the video is the beat. We hear and see the beat all the time.
Okay.
All right. So now, education. Those are a couple frameworks. Let's go into entertainment. And you actually did it in every scenario. The entertainment aspect was connecting a relatable story or a pain point or a pleasure point. You actually did it. Okay. So entertainment is simply speaking from perspective of pain or pleasure. Why is it that we like Lifetime so much? Scares us. Why do we want to get scared? Why is the thrill so exciting? Like, oh man, I hope that doesn't happen. You know, there's something in us that's like curious about like wanting to feel like you're prepared because you see a van down the street. Lifetime taught me about that.
I don't want to get caught up in that Lifetime show.
You know what I mean? Or even vice versa, where it's pleasure and you're connecting laughter, joy, your grandmother saying thank you, baby, or so this is where you find creative ways of things you naturally do that are relatable. So even when you were telling the grandma story, now this might be a little out the box, but you kind of want to get a little out the box sometimes. Let's say you're at the site where you're building in the neighborhood and you just finished your gentrification. You talked about grandmas. Now, just for fun, you have somebody dressed like a grandma
Yeah.
coming through with an HEB bag
Yeah.
and just smiling, saying, "Hey, baby, HEB," or whatever. Just something small, that little bit of entertainment that's a little out of the box. Why? Because it just brings you in like like, man, that's amazing. Like, I could feel that. I felt that. And so you find little areas like that where people can just feel it a little bit more.
So Dante, let me ask you a question now. You are, because what you're talking about is really creativity.
Yes.
It's being creative. And as much as I can vision like building a whole community and what the streets should look like and how the trees should be positioned, and my creativity on what you just said is lacking because my mind is very linear.
Yeah.
I'm very much so a problem solver. And
Yeah.
so, and it's tough. It's tough to flex those muscles at the same time. And I don't use that creative muscle as much in that space. So for somebody who, like me, you know, I'm not gonna, I would never think to go get a grandmother to dress up and do that. But I would laugh at it.
Or even act like one, but yeah.
But I would laugh at it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So for someone like me, then, you know, I know I hear people say, "Oh, you batch video record." Is it just to have something already? Because I'm gonna need to lean on someone who does exercise and flex that creative muscle all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know. But my question to you was, how did you get to this space? How did you get to this space where you're able to think creatively about all these different factions and spaces? Or is it just we're all just 3 to 5 types of people in different?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I'm glad that you asked that. So you said a key word is flex, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a muscle. We all have a creative muscle. So you've flexed your creative muscle in a linear point of view. Mm-hmm. So some kind of way, somebody's wondering, Kim, how did you get to this space where you're able to envision a community and you're about to make $1 billion transfer because of this mindset, right? So it's really, I call it doing the reps. Mm-hmm. No matter what, when you do the reps, you get stronger at that. Were you able to bust down and do 100 push-ups when you first started? Heck no.
Right.
But if you keep doing it and you keep putting in the reps, you will get stronger at it and better at it. And so one of the biggest fears of people going to the gym is fear of paralysis by analysis. Mm-hmm. That it's like, where do I even begin? Look at all this equipment. Am I doing it right? Are they watching me? Are they judging me?
Right.
You know, do I look stupid? You know, and you just gotta, like, a lot of times people push past that. But if you go in equipped with a plan, if you come in with a plan, yes, then even if you're not the best at it, I got a plan. I have a format. I have a system I can follow, and I'm gonna work this process. And so that's how I got better at it. I wanted to be able to help people express themselves correctly because I believe everybody has a story.
Yeah.
And I've gone through hardships, like real life hardships, like homelessness, of struggle, of being, you know, incarcerated, but how my life transformed, and now I'm on platforms and news channels and changing is because of how the story was positioned. And that's all marketing is positioning.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it is really positioning, placement, the product placement, positioning. Right?
Yeah.
But sometimes the product, and I'll say this, you said this the other day, Michael Jackson, to me, was one of the purest voices I've ever heard on wax.
Yeah.
But I don't think he could have catapulted to the stratosphere the way he did without Quincy Jones.
Right.
So even though you have this incredible talent, it's incredible knowledge, you still need the orchestrator.
Absolutely.
To put the orchestrator,
a producer, an orchestrator, a guide, a coach. Absolutely. Yeah. And so for me, I have many mentors.
You do?
Oh yeah. I mean, one of my biggest mentors, and it's in my little challenge thing, is a picture of me and Coach Carter from
the
portrayed
movie?
By Samuel L. Jackson.
Really?
He lives in Marlin, Texas.
Get out of here.
Yes, a whole bunch of acres of land.
How did you meet him? Long story? Is that a loaded question?
It's not a loaded question. It's actually So it was actually what I'm gonna get into next about
Okay.
writing it down. But I was working in Houston's nightlife, so strip club scene,
Okay.
shooting videos. Man, there's so many business meetings that go down in there.
I know it.
I mean, I'm talking some of the craziest people you would not expect to be in there is in there.
No, I completely know.
And so one guy, I always am. Actually, I'm always with alkaline water.
Okay.
This is alkaline. I'm always carrying alkaline water with me. And there's one guy, he's tall, basketball player. He's like, man, what you got alkaline? Where'd you get your alkaline water from? And I'm like, oh, this such and such. He's like, man, I know somebody who has it. It's Coach Carter. I said, get out of here. I didn't believe him. I really didn't believe him. So I guess a couple months later, this was back in February, March, around crawfish season. May comes around, I get a call with I had my son at the time. He was like 5. I get a call and he's like, hey, young man, I heard about you. I heard you do great things, that you're a great content creator. You sell water, and I would like for you to come and sell my water. I'm like, who is this? This is Coach Carter. I said, man, get out of here. And I hung up. Like, I didn't believe it. I'm like, prank call.
Wow.
Calls me back. He's like, you don't want to hang up this phone. And so I listened to what he said. He was the actual Coach Carter. The man like sent me $1,000 just because he's like, I really like your personality.
Yeah.
You know, let's meet up. And I said, you in where, Texas?
Where is
Texas?
it? What?
Like, it's 30 minutes from Waco.
Oh, okay.
I came around there, and as soon as I hit the corner, he fell in love with my son. He was like, that is your twin.
Oh.
And it was just me and my son always. He would come with me to presentations. He would come with me all over the place. He's 13 now. And I think God's way of even blessing me, my first viral videos with him.
Get out.
Yes, right now it's going viral. I'll show you at the end of this, but it's going crazy.
Get out of here.
Over 500,000 views, and it was just me wanting to bless him.
That's what I was about to say. What was it a video of?
It was just me wanting to bless him, and he was like, "No, Dad, I know how hard." He's always seen like how hard I worked. He's like, "No, Dad." I'm like, "No, son, you're 13. You deserve it. Like, I'm blessing you." And so video just went off, and a lot of people are commenting. But having mentors and being open-minded to mentors, just like you have, I'm sure, for your construction and your development and your lenders.
Thought partners.
There you go.
Because I thought, we get in our heads a lot.
Yeah.
As, business owners.
Yeah.
And you have to have people who are not in your head.
Yeah.
But whose thoughts are aligned. Whose
yes.
spirits are aligned.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's
absolutely.
it. That's it. And so if there's ever been an issue with why something isn't working, we start this conversation off. You were like, some people, I kept too long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the alignment is consistent because it's who you are. It's only not consistent when they perpetrate to be one thing, but they're really a different thing.
Right.
And now you're like, well, you said this, but this isn't adding up. Or you demonstrated that you can do this, but this isn't happening.
Right.
Well, it's because the alignment. You can have a different thought process and still be aligned, because now like you say, your thought partners are bringing that perspective. So even my understanding, people kept telling me, because I always never thought I was like the best videographer, content creator. That was never my mission. My mission was like, how can I tell this story effectively and quickly that makes a huge impact? Effectively and quickly that makes an impact. And all the people I started working with kept telling me, dude, you're a strategist. You're a visionary.
I was going to say, it's not video, it's strategy.
It's strategy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm doing shoot the video. They're like, no. They're like, strategy. I would not have been able to do this if it wasn't for this game plan or this strategy. And so once I got into alignment with that, the rest made sense. This is my product, right? The camera is the product, but the value is the strategy. And so you have your product is the development, but the value is your knowledge, your expertise. It's your wisdom, it's your experience. And now we're connecting the two. And when those two are connected, watch your content transform, watch the opportunities unfold.
Yeah.
And not even from a consumer, a B2C, but a B2B level.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. Ultimately, when you just said my mission is to help businesses, like I know my mission is to create home ownership, right? And I've done that through real estate brokerage.
Yeah.
but it's really bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's really like the creation of real estate
Yeah.
and communities.
Yeah.
Things that are going to outlive my own existence.
Yes. That's
not one time.
You
over.
mapped out a map of a community. Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, when you said your mission, and you know that, right? But then how are you executing the mission? And I see it,
Yeah.
right? And then I'm thinking to myself, how am I effectively and quickly executing the commission? I mean, the mission.
There you go.
I'm probably like keeping people too long, going down the wrong pathways, knowing things that are in a line or not aligned.
Yeah.
Are stifling my own.
Yeah.
Progress and the mission ahead. So the B2B connection is really the purpose for wanting to make sure that going forward things are aligned.
Yes.
Only because also I'm not a person who believes in accidents or coincidences.
Man.
And God has just been he just is so phenomenal. He just shows he shows himself. And he'll if you let him.
Man.
If you let him.
Come on.
So all the people that are in my thought partners, my friends, my circles of influence, very, very intentional. And sometimes I've gotten in my own way. I've gotten in God's way.
Yeah.
But when I see that, I'm like, okay, now I know. I see it. I see who you put there, God.
Yeah.
And when people have called me out of the blue while I'm in this little wormhole trying to think about the community and really expanded my vision. And I'll say out loud, God, I see.
Yes.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
This person is in front of me whose spirit is on the same frequency as mine. I see.
Yeah.
I'm listening. So I'm trying to understand, I know the mission, and then see that B2B down the line, that those really expandable relationships that will feed the mission.
Absolutely.
Beyond the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people I can feed.
Absolutely.
With a single homes.
And with that transitions us right into the next portion I want to speak about, which is, and I'm glad you brought up, God and really your spiritual foundation, because do you have a Bible app on your phone?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, you can still Google Habakkuk 1 and 2. Can I see your phone since I'm using mine? And real quick. You know this when you hear it. Let me see if I can get to the next one. Yeah, this is going to lead to the next one. Read full chapter. There we go. Yeah. Okay, you got to sing it over there.
I was doing that out loud. I didn't know.
Habakkuk 2:2.
Habakkuk 2:2.
Let me see if I can. Now, you've heard this over and over again. I'm trying to find a different version that will just be clearer. I mean, I like the good old King James. New Living, NIV. All right. The Lord's answer, verse 2 and probably even 3.
Then the Lord replied, write down the revelation and make it plain on tablets so that a herald may run with it. For revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end. It will not prove false.
Though it tarries or lingers, yeah.
Though it linger, wait for it. It will come, and without delay.
And without delay. Another version says, write the vision down and make it plain.
Yeah.
You've heard this. So the next aspect of having alignment is communicating what you've written down. See, it says when the herald hears it or the herald will read it, they'll run with it. So one of the things that happens is when we don't have our communication spoken out consistently, or when we do communicate it consistently, it will either allow people to gravitate towards you or fall away. I've had people literally tell me.
I was just thinking that. You know, like when I said people have held on to people for too long, I have held on to it, and God says that is not for you.
Yeah.
Be gone.
Yeah.
And that person is gone.
Yeah.
Not because of my own doing.
Not because of what you did. Yep.
Woo! I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
That's it. So we're talking about the price point, right? You're like, you raise the prices, people fall off. You raise the bar, you raise the mission, you raise the standard.
Yeah.
And people who are gravitating towards that or are looking for that will jump on board and say, hey, I'm ready to run this mission with you.
Yeah, it's vibration.
Or they'll fall off. Exactly. Mm-hmm. It is vibration, frequency. That's a real thing. So when I did my film and it literally, I heralded and I said, this is what I'm doing and this is how I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it. And people came on board. You stand in that truth and people want somebody to follow. They want a mission to believe in and get behind.
Yeah.
And so if your content is now communicating that, that's why I mentioned it will bring in B to B. But if your content isn't, if your message, content, think content, message, if your message isn't communicating, this is where I'm going, then you can kind of stay, if you allow yourself, stagnant because you're no longer communicating the mission that is in your heart that God has written on the tablets of your heart. Again, this is the entertainment part. This is stories. I tell people all the time, if Christ was here today, he would be a content creator. Why? Because he walked around and told stories. He didn't want to be famous. So when I hear you say, hey, I don't want the spotlight, that's beautiful because now you can be trusted with the things that you actually don't want.
Well, that goes to this other, see, the enemy is puffed up. His desires are not upright, but the righteous persons will live by his faithfulness.
Woo, come on, she kept it going. That's it.
You spoke right into that.
That's it. And so now this alignment does really protect you. It's like they either can't reach you or the ones that are where you're at are thankful that you came. Same here. If my mission came in and be like, yeah, Kim, hire me to shoot your videos and do X, Y, and Z, you're like, I've been there, I've done that.
Yeah.
But even what God has been doing with me in this last season is literally to go out there and educate people on how to deliver and show it better, because the communities that you're going to build are going to be communities that I'm probably looking to live in, looking for my child to live in, looking for my family to live in. And so that means in order for that to happen, I got
to reach you.
Right. And not just me, millions
of you. Right. I meant that as a group.
Yes. Yeah. It's imperative.
Yeah.
It's imperative. So the entertainment, now the encouragement piece is really, it should be one of the shortest pieces of this framework. So the encouragement are the wins. The encouragements are the confirmations. So the encouragements are the wins. The encouragements are the confirmations. And the encouragement is the community. Wins, confirmation, and community. So you show the wins through a story. Like, man, I was talking to somebody about this and that, and now this person, after 37 years, is a homeowner, and they didn't know they can do it.
Oh, I should do that.
There you go. Okay. Or the confirmation is like literally saying, you've been wanting to know if you should buy a home or not, or feeling like you can't. Well, if you're seeing this video, I'm telling you, it is time. It is no more excuses. The resources are there. Confirmation, confirm what people really want, even if they haven't spoken it out loud yet. Sometimes you have to speak for people because they don't have a voice that they know how to communicate yet. And now they're like, man, I do want a home. Man, I do want my ground to be safe. I do want these things. I do want to see the community grow. I do want whatever it is I do's wants.
Right.
And then the community aspect is to follow you, follow the movement, follow what we're doing, because we're on a mission. And this is a mission that you can get behind and a mission you can support. And how you have them follow you is really about the next steps that you want to take them. So it could just be continuing on the social media journey. It can be, kind of like your calendar. Do you want to be an investor or are you a buyer? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's pointing them to a call of action, but not in a salesy way, but in a truthful, like, join this community because you see what it is. I spoke to your pain point and I spoke into your pleasure. I've educated you on the ifs, hows, what's, whys, and what to do. And from that aspect, you can rinse and repeat this over and over again. I mean, you'll start finding inspiration while you're on the plane. You'll find inspiration while you're driving to your next appointment or your next meeting or your next development site. You can put your phone up on a phone holder and just start speaking from the framework of educate, entertain, encourage.
Wow.
Or at least even have the ideas to write down on a framework of, one light, one camera, two persons, and you're the other person. Or you can look at it from a creative standpoint of like, how can I demonstrate this with something as simple as a rock or a bowl or a cup? And the more you practice these things as you are going about, as much as you say you may not have capacity, I would say start small then. Start at a level of
I was
like,
just going to ask that. Where do I start?
Okay. Yeah. So you start at a level, so start at the most relevant areas of things that are on top of your mind. So again, we read the scripture, write it down, right? Write the revelation down. We know pain and pleasure sells. So we only went through a list of 3 questions of like pains and fear points. But I'm sure if you actually sat down, create an entire list in your mind of what people have personally asked you, what you personally know. And I love what you did in this video. You said, I'm not a creditor or I'm not a credit specialist or repair person. That's great. You let them know, like, these are the things you do. I'm not saying I'm the expert in this, but these are the things that are the next steps.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so from that point, you always want to start with the writing. It is an exercise muscle, but you are a writer. I see that.
Mm-hmm. I'm an
You know
avid
what I
note
mean?
taker.
And so with the avid notes, maybe get a personal note just for these ideas, outside of your brain release. Right now you're doing like a brain release,
Mm-hmm.
but you want to have maybe just a section or a journal separate just for ideas. Even for and here's the biggest aspect. Document what you do. All we're doing is documenting what we just did. Now you're going to have this. I'm going to send this to you as well so you can have it and go over it. But the biggest aspect is documenting what you're already doing. If you're cutting up vegetables, you got the setup, pull that thing in there and just start documenting it. If you don't want your face in it, just have it on your hands and talk.
I love that because I watched those videos
too. There you go. There you go. Yeah, I had this idea where I want to like develop and work on this with a builder. And now they're so into the entertainment of the demonstration of you just cutting up fruit or cooking in the kitchen, but you're actually expressing valuable content of the next move that you're going to do. So again, another thing is to communicate the mission. So you can start like that, simply writing down the ideas.
Wow. Okay.
Now I'm thinking, what was the last part? So really from there, once you have this set up, this is where you kind of come in with a coach. So whether it's me or whether you mastermind with other people of your team, you do a check-in. This is really being held accountable. For me, I'm gonna be on you like, hey, morning times, this is what needs to be done. This is what I'm expecting to see, and this is what I'm expecting to have you execute on.
Mm-hmm.
now you're having that accountability, and the reason why it's powerful is because people pay attention to what they pay for.
Mm. Not necessarily.
Not all the time, but depending on the price.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like people get lost. It's like, even for me, you hire somebody to do something and you think, oh, that person can do it. That doesn't need to take up any brain capacity.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a collaborative effort.
Yes.
So I would need to make sure I frame that in my mind that way. So I'm not like, I'm just hiring a contractor, a general contractor, and that's their job. They're going to do that, and I can go on to something else.
Yeah.
Because that's how I've approached it before. And that's and to the point of holding on to people for too long. Some of that's on me.
Yeah.
And being invested and accountable for what my expectations were, what the expectations were for the relationship, or the deliverables, right?
Yep.
So
yeah. So with that being said, even though this is a collaborative effort, one of the pain points I do hear you say or speaking on is capacity and time.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a big factor for you.
You're hearing me.
Yeah. So really, it would be trusting a framework and being willing to follow it through. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, we've came up with this and we have a time of how and what we want to deliver and why, which is really what you have now. Because you have a creative team right now, right?
No.
Oh.
Nope.
Okay. Well, let's use the aspect of even still, let's imagine the creative team. Now it's having this meeting of, this is what I want to do. This is what we're going to start executing on. And this is what we're going to start delivering.
Okay. What does that mean? What does that look like?
You always have to script. As simple as we just came up, you have 10 videos in here now. Even at a 30-second level or less.
Right.
That's powerful. Scripting. So scripting is very key. Then handing your script to your creative director, who now comes up with the beat. Let me talk it to you in your music language. You're the artist. I have a song. Here's some of the words. You give your words over to the producer, and he literally makes it a dope beat, a dope track. That way you can build on that. You can expound on that.
Okay. I understand that.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. How old are you?
37. Just turned 37.
Oh, yeah, you're older. So you remember We Are the World?
We Are the World, yeah. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and they have a documentary about it now.
Okay.
I didn't
Was it when he did the Super Bowl?
No, We Are the World was actually Lionel Richie.
Oh, originally, yes.
Quincy Jones called Lionel Richie first.
Yes.
And Lionel Richie called Michael Jackson. And they called Stevie Wonder together. And Stevie would not return their phone calls.
Man.
Didn't know that. But my point was, he said they sat in Michael Jackson's ranch for days just with a few words on the page.
There you go.
And that's it. Just the words. And then he said Michael couldn't read music or write it.
No.
So he had all these recordings of him just humming.
Yeah.
And they took that to Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
Who then put together what we see.
We Are the World.
And he also
one of the greatest songs
ever. Global.
World.
Worldwide. The planet Earth. It was played in space. I mean, he went and found Cyndi Lauper and Madonna. Well, Madonna wouldn't do it. Sheila E.
Dang.
Bruce Springsteen. All these people, all these different voices. You know how different all those people's voices sound?
Yes.
And
harmonized
made this this magic happen.
Yeah.
So I get it. Back to your point.
There you go.
Creative director.
Yes. So you
take
it to that person, whether it's me or whether and then from that aspect, build around that. Like, okay, I can work with this. I can expound on this. I can help you deliver on this.
Okay.
And then that's the next part is actually the delivery. So making that content based off the frameworks that we know work
Okay.
versus being followed around with the camera
Yeah.
or taking cool pictures in the moment or trying to guess like, okay, I'm going to do this. Everybody come and shoot it.
Right. That's always felt like chaos to me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There you go. Because it is. And some people thrive off of chaos.
Mhm.
You know, that could be somebody's way of getting things done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, if you need time freedom, it cannot be chaotic. It has to already be streamlined.
Has to be structured and
It
streamlined.
has to be structured.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wow. Okay.
And then you do it for a while. Commit to it. You're gonna retrain the algorithm. So this is the last piece, understanding the algorithm. The algorithm has one objective. What is their objective?
I don't know.
Okay, this is very important to know. Keep people on their platform. That's their one objective. They do not want people leaving their platform. They want users at all times experiencing their platform throughout all the day, all times. And if you create content that doesn't align with their desire, they will.
Basically, doesn't get likes, clicks, and forwards or shares.
Yes, if it doesn't move,
then it pushes you down.
It pushes you all the way down. Even if you put $1 million behind production, or $1 million behind advertising spending.
That's what I was about to say. What about ads?
Yes, so ads doesn't allow a bad video to be shown still. Even if it's a bad performance, as a matter of fact, it'll hurt your organic reach even more.
Really?
Yes. Algorithm, yes. It only wants to show, they want their users to trust their platform.
How do they know?
Because what they'll do is they'll send it to a small group. And if the small group receives it well, then they'll share with a larger audience. And that's when you can scale.